All right, so today we're going to be diving into all these articles you sent about Tesla's Optimus robot.
Yeah, it seems like there's been a ton of buzz about it lately.
Definitely, and for good reason. We're
Yeah.
talking about robots that can walk, sort objects, and even dance, all while they're learning and adapting, like something right out of a sci-fi movie.
What's really intriguing to me is that this isn't just some flashy PR stunt with a robot that waves and then goes back in its box. This feels different, you know? There's this sense that Optimus could be a real game changer in how we think about robots in our daily lives.
Okay, I'm intrigued. We're not just talking about replacing our Roombas, are we?
Oh no, not even close. Optimus is a major leap forward. It could have massive implications on things like labor economics, even how we interact with technology every day.
So Tesla's really going all in on a future where we've got humanoid robots just hanging around.
Yeah, seems like it.
Okay, well, before we get too far down the rabbit hole of robot butlers, let's back up a bit. For those who might not be familiar with all the hype, what exactly is Optimus?
At its core, it's a humanoid robot,
Meaning,
meaning it's designed to kind of look and move like a human. 2 legs, 2 arms ahead, the whole 9 yards. And we're not talking about some clunky prototype either.
oh,
Tesla's already shown off their second generation Optimus Gen 2,
Gen 2 already.
which is way more advanced than that first model.
Okay, so they're clearly serious about this whole thing.
Yeah.
What is it about Gen 2 that has everyone in robotics so excited?
Capabilities. It can walk on 2 legs, balance on 1 leg.
Well, hold up.
It can even do things like sorting objects.
No way.
And get this, it can even make these micro adjustments to how it's holding something,
Really?
which sounds super basic, but actually requires some seriously complex programming to pull off.
I mean, it's one thing to see a robot dance on YouTube, but to imagine those movements happening in real time is kind of mind-blowing.
Totally.
What kind of tech are we talking about here?
Optimus is using some cutting-edge stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of it actually comes straight from Tesla's work with their cars. Yeah, things like artificial intelligence, a whole network of sensors and systems that are very similar to how their autopilot feature works.
So instead of navigating roads, it's navigating living rooms and offices.
Exactly. And that's where it gets really interesting. Optimus isn't just limited to following a set of pre-programmed instructions.
Okay.
It actually uses something called neural networks.
Neural networks. Lay that one on me.
Okay, so picture like a network of these interconnected nodes, kind of like this massive web of information. Each one of those nodes is processing data, learning from it, making connections, and recognizing patterns.
So it's basically teaching itself how to function, how to solve problems, how to adapt.
Precisely. The more Optimus experiences, the smarter it gets.
Wow.
And here's the really wild part. They're actually using motion capture technology to train Optimus.
Motion capture like they use in movies and video games.
Exactly. So imagine recording hundreds of hours of human actions, walking, grabbing things, even dancing, and then feeding all that data into Optimus's system.
So it's literally learning to move like us by watching us.
Exactly.
Okay, that's pretty amazing. And kind of creepy, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it definitely blurs the lines a little bit.
So we've got this robot that moves like us, learns like us. What's the end game here? World domination by a robot army.
Well, Elon Musk definitely has some ambitious plans for Optimus.
Oh, I bet he does.
He talks about a future where these robots aren't stuck in factories, but they're actually out in the world with us handling everyday tasks, helping out around the house, maybe even just keeping us company.
So more like Rosie the robot from the Jetsons than Terminator.
Exactly. Musk has even mentioned things like Optimus cooking cleaning, providing companionship, helping out with elder care.
Wow.
He sees it as a key part of this future of abundance he talks about.
Future of abundance. What does that even mean?
Essentially, it's this idea that robots free us from all the boring, tedious stuff, and then we humans are free to focus on more fulfilling things.
Okay, I'll admit that sounds kind of utopian. But realistically, what about the economics of it all? If we have robots doing all these jobs, what happens to the people who used to do them?
That's the million-dollar question, right? It's something a lot of experts are debating. Some say robots like Optimus are going to lead to job losses.
Especially in places like factories.
Exactly. Others think that, yeah, some jobs will be automated, but then new opportunities will pop up.
Like what?
Well, you'll need people to maintain these robots, program them, design them, things like that.
So it's not as simple as robots take over. It's
Yeah.
more of a shift in the types of jobs that are available.
Right, and it's something we need to be ready for. We need to be thinking about how we retrain workers, how we adapt our schools, how do we make sure that everyone benefits from this technology, not just a select few.
It's a lot to think about.
Hmm.
But let's shift gears a little bit here. How does Optimus compare to other humanoid robots that are already out there. I'm thinking specifically about Boston Dynamics Atlas. Have you seen that thing? It's incredible.
Oh yeah, Atlas is amazing. It's super agile, can do all sorts of crazy movements, running, jumping, even backflips.
Yeah, it's wild.
But even though both Optimus and Atlas are humanoid robots, they actually come from very different places and have very different goals.
Oh, how so?
Well, Atlas was initially funded by the U.S. military.
Really? I had no idea.
Yeah, they were focused on pushing the limits of what robots could physically do, creating something that could handle dangerous environments and tasks that would be too risky for humans.
Makes sense.
Optimus, though, that's a purely commercial project.
Okay.
Tesla's goal is mass production. They want to get these robots into homes and businesses.
So they need to be affordable and functional.
Exactly.
So Atlas is like the Olympic athlete of robots, and Optimus is more like the reliable workhorse.
Mm-hmm. I like that analogy.
Speaking of which, how much is this workhorse going to cost me? Because I have a feeling a robot that can do the dishes and walk the dog doesn't come cheap.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
The early estimates I've seen put Optimus somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000.
Wow. So basically the price of a new car.
Pretty much.
But Musk has talked about the price coming down eventually, right?
He has. His whole future of abundance thing hinges on making Optimus accessible to as many people as possible. He said that as production ramps up and the tech improves, the price could come down significantly.
So maybe someday we'll all have an Optimus in our kitchen.
It's definitely a possibility. And it raises all these fascinating questions about how that's going to change our world.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to even imagine a world where robots are just a normal part of life.
Right. It's both exciting and a little intimidating at the same time.
Yeah, it really is a lot to wrap your head around. Like on the one hand, you've got this future where everything's easier, more efficient, thanks to robots.
Yeah.
But then there's that other side, the what ifs, the things that make you go, are we sure about this?
It's that classic double-edged sword thing, isn't it? Technology so often is. But I think it's important to remember that we're not just along for the ride. We actually get a say in how this technology is used, how it develops, what role it plays in our lives.
That's a good point. It's easy to get caught up in all the hype, all the fears.
Yeah.
But ultimately, we have choices to make about how this all plays out.
Exactly. And it starts with being informed, asking the tough questions, having open conversations about what this tech means for all of us.
Which is what we're trying to do here today. So as we kind of bring this deep dive on Optimus to a close, is there anything that really stuck out to you? Something that's really got you thinking?
For me, it's the speed of it all. It's kind of mind-blowing. Just a few years ago, this whole idea of having a humanoid robot you could just buy, it felt like something out of a movie. Now it's practically here.
It really does feel like we're living in a science fiction movie sometimes.
Right. And that's exciting, but it's also a big responsibility. We have to be thoughtful about this stuff.
Definitely. Well, I gotta say, after all this research, I'm cautiously optimistic.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's easy to focus on the what-ifs and the maybes, but at the end of the day, technology is a tool. How we use that tool, that's up to us.
Well said. So to everyone listening, we want to hear from you. What excites you most about the possibility of humanoid robots like Optimus being a part of our lives? And what concerns you? Keep those questions in mind as you see this technology developing, because it's a conversation that's just getting started.
The future is unwritten. It's up to all of us to write it.
That's a wrap on our deep dive into Optimus. For now, that is. Until next time.
Stay curious, everyone.